Coming up, sick and tired? With cold and flu season here, we'll explain just what to do when you're feeling crummy. Also, stormy weather. Heavy rain is soaking parts of the Pacific Northwest due to what's being called the Pineapple Express. What does that mean? We've got the answer. Then, Taylor time. The superstar is once again making headlines this week. We'll tell you why. Plus, seeing stripes, everything you need to know about this brand new tiger cub. We're at Zoo Miami with details. And game on. Find out why some kids are paddling up and playing America's fastest growing sport. We're talking pickleball.
I think more kids are starting to play because it's a very easy sport that you can just play after school with a friend.
I just like the energy that comes off of pickleball.
I love beating adults.
And inspiring kids. This 12-year-old is on a mission to help furry friends find forever homes.
I've been helping those dogs for the last 7 years now. So that's what I've been doing for most of my life.
His remarkable story just ahead.
This is NBC Nightly News Kids Edition.
Welcome back to Nightly News Kids Edition. I'm Lester Holt. It is great to be with you guys. Hope you're having a good week. We have a super lineup ahead, including the history of Hanukkah. Plus, a little later on, grab your paddles. We'll hear from some kids who are hitting the courts to play pickleball. But let's begin on the health front, shall we? We have spent a good amount of time in this program the last 3 years talking about the coronavirus, but it's also cold and flu season. With the start of winter just 2 weeks away, health officials say flu cases, along with COVID-19, are on the rise in parts of the country. So we asked our good pal, Dr. John Torres, to explain how you can get better if you do get sick.
Sometimes, even when we do everything right, viruses sneak into our body and they can make us sick, regardless of what type of illness. COVID, the common cold, the flu, a sore throat, or even a stomach bug, we do have a few tools to fight them off. The first, sleep. When you're sick, your immune system is working really hard to fight off the virus. This will make you more tired than usual. You want to get as much rest and sleep as possible because sleep slows down other functions your body does while awake, like thinking, talking, and even blinking. This saves energy so your immune system can keep fighting. To help you feel better, your parents may give you some medications that they got at the store or from your doctor. These can relieve symptoms like coughing, fever, or a sore throat. The most important thing when you're sick, stay hydrated. It's very important that you drink a lot of fluids. That can include water, fruit juices, or sports drinks. Why? Well, all the cells in your body need water in order to work properly. And when you're sick, it's especially important because water helps the immune system create more antibodies. And remember, antibodies, those soldiers, are what fight off viruses. Now, what about food? Well, you may have heard the phrase, feed a cold, starve a fever. But kids, this is a myth. Yes, a myth. Regardless of whether you have a cold, the flu, or something else, you want to try to eat because food gives your body energy to fight the virus. Fruits, vegetables, and peanut butter are some good options. But sometimes getting sick causes you to lose your appetite. And if that happens, try eating plain foods like crackers or toast. And there's nothing better than a comforting bowl of chicken noodle soup when you're sick. And it really does help you get better. It thins the mucus in your nose and throat to make you less congested, and it helps hydrate you. And when you combine all these tools together, sleep, fluids, food, and medication, it can help you get better faster.
Dr. John Torres, thanks very much. I hope I won't need that advice, but it's good to know it. Also making news this week, the Pineapple Express. Have you heard about that? It's a strong atmospheric river, or to put it another way, it's a flow of moisture in the air, and it's bringing heavy rain and the risk of flooding to areas of the Pacific Northwest. Now, earlier this week, forecasters said the storm had already dumped over 12 inches of rain in some locations. Did you know a Pineapple Express is an example of a strong atmospheric river, a narrow region of moisture that builds up in the tropical Pacific around Hawaii thus the pineapple. It transports much of the moisture, usually warm, from the tropics to northern latitudes. Atmospheric rivers, like the Pineapple Express, are part of the Earth's ocean water cycle. And experts say that while these rivers are responsible for great quantities of rain that can produce flooding, they also contribute to more snowpack that can help alleviate drought conditions that may occur across the country. Meantime, millions of families in the United States and around the world will begin celebrating Hanukkah this week. The Jewish holiday starts December 7th and continues through December 15th. So just what is the history behind Hanukkah? We get details from our friend Peter Alexander.
It's a tradition that dates back to ancient times.
Hanukkah is a celebration of miracles.
Hanukkah means dedication in Hebrew. Each year, the Jewish holiday takes place right around Christmas and lasts 8 days. Families celebrate in different ways. They light candles, say prayers, sing, exchange small gifts, and of course, eat.
Hanukkah is eating special foods that you would normally eat.
I like Hanukkah because it's not every day where you get to experience lighting the Hanukkah.
The menorah is central to Hanukkah, that's known as the Festival of Lights. Why? Well, more than 2,000 years ago, the Jewish people defeated the Greeks in a bitter war, taking back a famed temple. To rededicate that temple, they lit a candelabra, known as a menorah. They only had enough oil for one night, but it lasted 8 days. And that's why the holiday is celebrated for 8 nights, to honor the miracle of Hanukkah.
It was a miracle that the oil lasted for so long, and it wasn't supposed to. So it really shows that if you try enough, you can make it happen.
Each night, another candle is lit.
It's a Jewish symbol, which is supposed to symbolize that God is always there.
Hanukkah is the festival of lights. It's really the story of endless possibility. It's the story of how when you believe in something, anything is possible.
Peter, thanks very much for that. Also making headlines this week, Time Magazine's Person of the Year. The magazine says Time's Person of the Year is the annual designation for the person, group, or concept that most shape the headlines for good or ill. Among the candidates this year, King Charles, Chinese President Xi Jinping, Barbie, and Taylor Swift. And the winner this year, Taylor Swift. That's right, the Grammy Award-winning star is Time's Person of the Year. We get more now from our friend Emily Aketa.
It's Taylor time, and Swifties are going wild. The 33-year-old superstar was just named Time Magazine's Person of the Year, joining the ranks of Mark Zuckerberg, President Barack Obama, and Pope Francis. The announcement was made Wednesday on The Today Show.
You picked Taylor. We know about her influence. How did you justify this decision?
Every year, we get the staff together. Picking one person is no easy task. And certainly in a year when the world is divided, there's a lot of light and a lot of darkness, we picked a choice, someone who represents joy, taken her own story and made it big enough for everyone. And I don't think there's anyone who's moved so many people so well as Taylor Swift did in 2023.
Time Magazine says Taylor Swift is like the weather. She was everywhere this year. Swift's record-setting Eras Tour dazzled fans both inside and outside of stadiums, myself included, in a trend known as Taylor-gating for those who couldn't score tickets. The tour also made Taylor Swift a billionaire, according to Forbes magazine. She's the first musician ever to make the ranks solely based on her songs and performances. And when the Eras Tour film opened in theaters in October, it gave fans of all ages who weren't able to see her on the concert stage a chance to sing and dance in the aisles and enjoy being a Swiftie. The film quickly became the most successful concert movie in history in the U.S. Peggy Noonan, a former speechwriter for President Ronald Reagan, wrote this recently about Taylor Swift. What she did this year is some kind of epic American story. Taylor Swift told Time Magazine that she feels this year has been the breakthrough moment of her career, a moment in time for a shining star.
Emily, thanks so much. Okay, that brings us to our pop quiz. The question this week, who was the first Time Person of the Year? A. Albert Einstein, B. Charles Lindbergh, or C. Theodore Roosevelt? And keep in mind, back then they called him Man of the Year. But anyway, let me give you a few seconds to think about it. Okay, time's up. The answer is B. Charles Lindbergh. In 1927, Lindbergh was named Time Magazine's first Man of the Year for making the first solo nonstop flight across the Atlantic Ocean. The history-making trip took flight from Roosevelt Field on Long Island, just east of New York City, on May 20th, 1927, and landed in Paris 33.5 hours later. Let's head to Florida now for our picture of the week. Say hello to a brand new member of Zoo Miami. The Sumatran tiger cub was born back in September in a secluded den where the cub stayed isolated with mom. Zoo Miami debuted the cub recently after it completed its first neonatal exam. That's like the newborn checkup. The zoo called this birth important because it helps the overall conservation efforts with the big cats. Joining us now with more is our good friend Ron McGill from Zoo Miami. Ron, hello, and I guess in these occasions I always want to say congratulations. How's the tiger cub doing?
She is doing spectacularly well. You know, she's still in the den with her mother, but she just got her second round of vaccines yesterday, and she's every bit a tiger. She was snarling and growling and very upset about getting her vaccines, but she's doing really, really well.
So when will the public get to meet the tiger cub at the Zoo Miami?
It's probably going to be another couple of weeks. On Thursday, we're doing what we call the swim test, which is when we take the cub, and as brash as it sounds, we basically put her in a pool to see if she can swim. Her instinct usually gets her to swim right away, but on the habitat here at Zoo Miami, we have pools, and the habitat is surrounded by a moat. So we need to make sure that she can swim, use her instincts properly before we actually, introduce them to the public. But it should be within 2 or 3 weeks after that.
Okay, you sidetracked me there because I don't know why. I always thought that cats don't like water. These cats swim?
Well, that's a good question. Most cats do not like water at all. Tigers are the exception. Tigers and jaguars. Jaguars on the Western Hemisphere, North and South America, and tigers in Asia. They love water. They swim in water all the time.
I always think of these big cats as sleek and lean. How big do they get?
Well, the Sumatran tiger is the smallest of the several species of tigers. The male gets to be about 300 pounds, female about 200 pounds. But when you compare it to the largest tiger, the Amur or the Siberian tiger, that can get twice as large as that. A big male Siberian tiger can get close to 700 pounds. So they're very muscular, but they're not necessarily very sleek. Very, very strong, muscular animals.
And I know one of the things you guys work on a lot is conservation efforts, not only for big cats, but other animals as well. Why is this cub so important to conserving the tiger population?
Well, basically, what zoos are now is they're an insurance policy against a very uncertain future in the wild. The fact is there are less than 500 Sumatran tigers left in the wild. That's a tiny number for an entire species of animals. So what zoos do by maintaining these captive populations under human care, it's an insurance policy. When these tigers occur in Indonesia on islands, an island can be wiped out by any kind of natural disaster, and you wipe out a species. By having these animals in these kind of secure populations, we can then ensure that their survival for future generations. God forbid a tragedy hits them in the wild.
And Ron, you guys have been really busy there. I understand the Zoo Miami just welcomed another new addition, part of the antelope family. What can you tell us?
Sure, giant eland. As a matter of fact, we've had 3 now born in the last several days. This is the largest antelope in the world. This is a male that can get to be close to 2,000 pounds. So it's really quite an incredible animal. And we're one of only a handful of zoos that has this under human care where the people can see it. So we've had 3 of them born here in the last several days. It's a big time holiday celebration.
Yeah, when you talk about that size, I'm thinking something akin to a bull moose.
That's great, and that's a great comparison. But here's a difference. The moose is it can get a little bit taller, get to be over 6 feet tall at the shoulder, but a moose male gets to be maybe 1,400, 1,500 pounds. An eland male is a much stockier, bulkier animal. It gets to be 2,000 pounds. Also, the moose is the largest type of deer in the world. The antelope, the eland, is the largest antelope in the world. The difference is that deer have antlers. Antlers have tines or branches on them, and they shed them every year and they grow new ones. Antelope have horns. Horns don't have any branches on them. If a horn breaks off, it will never grow back.
I learned so much every time we have you on. Ron, great to have you on. It's awesome what you guys are doing there at Zoo Miami. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, Lester. Happy holidays.
All right, well, it's the fastest growing sport in America, and these days more kids are picking up the game and making it a family affair. We're talking about pickleball. We get details from our good friend Dylan Dreyer.
These kids have their game faces on.
One at a time.
What I love most is that it's very fast paced.
There's a lot of running involved.
I love beating adults.
We're talking pickleball, and now more and more kids are paddling up and playing this sport as well.
I think more kids are starting to play because it's a very easy sport that you can just play after school with a friend.
I like making crazy shots. I like the sound when it hits the paddle in the middle.
Play a few times a week, sometimes just for fun and sometimes in a league. It's just a fun sport that you gotta talk to people.
My favorite thing about pickleball and why I like playing it is because it's a good escape from school.
I like pickleball because I think it's fun and it's just a cool game and it's pretty simple.
At Downtown Sports in Mahwah, New Jersey, dozens of young players are showing up every week to play, practice, and learn. The youngest is just 4 years old.
I think they're surprised at how fun they think it is and, how much they really like it.
They love playing with anybody that'll be out there on the court playing with them, and they're having fun. And they can say, hey, I can play, I can do this. And it definitely builds their confidence.
I like pickleball because I used to play tennis and ping pong, and I feel like this is a balanced mix of both.
A cross between tennis and ping pong. The court, though, is
so much smaller than a tennis court.
Coach Tina Marshy says pickleball is easy to learn and teaches valuable skills like
great eye coordination, getting to the line, playing together as a team. They're learning friendships, they're socializing.
14-year-old twin sisters Emily and Catherine Cho have been playing pickleball for a little over a year.
When I first started, I couldn't stop. I just like the energy that comes off of pickleball.
Just try it because it's not that hard to try. It's a very easy sport to catch on to.
At just 15, Harrison Malco is not only a player, but a certified instructor as well. Harrison picked up pickleball 2 years ago and says one of the things he likes most about the sport is that anybody can play it.
I love that in basketball you can kind of win over people, and I'm using basketball as an example. You can win over games just by your athleticism, your reach, your height, stuff like that. In pickleball, that's not the case whatsoever. Of course, it helps to be athletic, but in this game, it really comes down to shot selection, court positioning, just general decision making. It gravitates more towards the idea that anybody can play this game.
For 9-year-old Miles Greenberg, his favorite part.
I like sliding and diving because it just helps me get the ball faster.
Pickleball is also a family affair.
My kids play other sports, but this is the only sport that we play as a family. I don't know of another sport really where it's so easy for parents to actually play together with the kids as opposed to just watching them play. Usually my mom has a packed schedule, so it's just fun that we get to play sometimes and bond over it.
Playing together and bonding and so much more.
I'd say that since I'm a pretty shy person, it really opened me up to speaking to new people, and everyone here is so nice.
I learned how to be more patient because I have to be so patient during thinking and stuff.
Pickleball is really fun, and when you get the hang of it, you won't want to stop playing.
Pickleball proving to be a winner for all ages.
All right, Dylan, thanks so much. I see people playing that in my neighborhood all the time. Looks like so much fun. Finally, in our Inspiring Kids series, this week we introduce you to one 12-year-old boy who is giving back, helping some four-legged friends find homes.
He loves to give kisses.
Roman McCon loves dogs and has made it his mission to make a difference.
When I was 4, I lived in Texas because my dad, he was in the military, so we were moving around a lot. And we were walking out of a local PetSmart one day. We saw a whole bunch of dogs in kennels and asked my parents why all those dogs were there. And they said, oh, well, the shelter has to try and get them homes, or otherwise they don't get adopted. Otherwise, they have to go to heaven.
That moment gave Roman an idea.
So we started Project Freedom Ride. Hi.
With the help of his family, Roman started Project Freedom Ride.
I've been helping those dogs for the last 7 years now. So that's what I've been doing for most of my life.
She needs herself a very good home with people that she can just love on.
In a joint effort with shelters,
Someone needs to help this sweet boy.
the nonprofit organization helps connect potential adopters with unwanted and abandoned dogs through social media.
She just could really use her forever home.
We go to the shelter and make videos for dogs, and sometimes some of those dogs from the shelter we go to and some dogs from other shelters, we help try and get them up to places where there's more adopters. They post these dogs, and people looking for dogs will see them. They'll see that they'll apply for the dog.
She's playing in a pool right now, splashing me.
Roman also works with rescue organizations to help raise money to transport the dogs from Texas and Georgia to their new loving homes.
We go all over the country, mainly in the north, like New York, New Jersey, Oregon, like the Pacific Northwest, Northeast, just where there's more adopters and less dogs.
Roman has already learned so much through giving back.
It just teaches you responsibility and teaches you how to care about things, like care about animals, care about just not to be so concerned about yourself, but teaches you that you gotta help out.
Roman and his family even foster their own dogs at home.
Right now we have a foster, her name's Winona, but she's a sweet girl. We're trying to get her adopted now, but sometimes we'll foster them and get them through certain medical things, and then we'll try and get them onto their home through our transports.
And having grown up with dogs, Roman hopes other kids can have the same experience.
He's looking for a family that can take in a good slaughter.
I think it's super cool for a kid to have a dog because they can grow up with that dog.
Saving lives and connecting kids and grown-ups with a new furry friend.
Roman, terrific. Keep up the great work. Well, that's going to do it for us. Parents, just a reminder, if your child has a question about any topic we're covering in the news, email a video to us at nightlynewskids@nbcuni.com, and we'll try to answer them in an upcoming episode. You can also follow us on Instagram @NightlyKids. Thanks for watching, and remember, take care of yourself and each other. So long.